John. How about at Red Hat? You've been there since the beginning. You all have, you've defined a lot of this. These railroad tracks that we talk about are painted with Red Hat lineage. Let's talk about the top line and the state of the state as you see it today.
Sure, great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Always.
Yeah, open source is sort of the place where all of this innovation is happening very quickly. The open source community, all the companies that are contributing to open source are driving innovation around AI and data faster than we can imagine. A lot of what you've seen in the last 3 years has been because of that explosion into open source. So a few things a couple of things that we've already talked about. RAG, the next sort of thing is more focus on what we call RAFT, which is the RAG with fine-tuning
models. So why don't you
models.
just for the listening audience,
yeah,
RAG.
Yeah, so
what
retrieval
does RAG
augmented
stand for? Just want to make sure we're all baseline.
Oh, sure. Retrieval augmented generation. So RAG is a way to take data that exists in your environment and augment your queries with that data. So you're bringing, instead of having to train your model on all the data, you have, let's say, databases, we call vector databases, that sit beside your AI, and they help you improve the responses that you get back. So you can bring information from the internet, you can bring information from your intranet, you can bring in files that you've converted for your AI to expose all that data. And it's a cheaper way than having to build a whole model yourself, and spend lots and lots of money.
Appreciate the explanation for the audience.
Yeah, and so RAFT is sort of the next generation that you'll hear that term is fine-tuning models. So doing some of that fine-tuning of models with your data and also having these other databases. So getting clearer, better results. A couple of other things that listeners will start to hear about is the Model Context Protocol, MCP. This is sort of the API of AI. This is what we're going to see as the way to connect securely all the different parts of your databases, your tools, your data sources in an open source, open standard way. So all vendors will manage that interconnect between data and AI through MCP. A couple other things we're seeing, AI data sovereignty is big. So people have heard about data sovereignty and confidential computing and these sort of topics where we're trying to ensure that you get to control your data, you get to control the systems that your data lives on. And in the concept of confidential computing is that when you're working with data, live data, that if someone had control of the system underneath, like your cloud provider or a hacker or somebody got, sort of say root control of your system, you don't want them to be able to see what you're doing. In traditional computing, you can see what people are doing above you in the stack, right? So confidential computing is saying, no, I'm gonna make it so you can't see what I'm doing. Now, the next generation of that is how do we apply that to AI? And that's got a concept of confidential AI, which is to say that when I'm doing queries, when I'm asking questions to my AI system, when I'm getting responses, how do I ensure that nobody can see that? How can I make sure that that is confidential and only my systems can see that? So we're going to see a lot. I mean, that is the focus of, I think, a lot of industry right now. Certainly in the open source community is making confidential AI a real thing, confidential containers a thing, so we can do exactly what we're trying to do with confidential computing, which is say, the hackers hack away. I'm still going to do my work. You're not going to be able to tell what I'm doing. And I can feel confident hosting wherever I need to host.